In a way, Muddy Waters was the focus, perhaps, of all the good things about that Chicago blues era. He had a great voice, he was an interesting guitar player, he used to play harmonica, had a wonderful band. He was a big influence for me. I mean, even before the Rolling Stones existed.
Got my mojo working, but it just don't work on you. I wanna love you so bad till I don't know what to do. I'm going down to Louisiana to get me a mojo head. I'm going down in Louisiana to get me a mojo head. I'm gonna have all you women stretch under my back.
He meant a great deal to me, and his music still does mean probably more than anybody else's. I don't know why. It was the first, really, that got to me, and it still is the most important music in my life today, is the music of Muddy Waters.
Just don't work on you.
Everything that I've heard in my life is rooted in the blues, except Johann Sebastian Bach.
I mean, I'm a big blues fan. I'm more of a blues fan than a jazz fan. You know, a lot of people like say, well, you must be into jazz. No, that's somebody like Gangstar, Tribe Called Quest, they're into the jazz field. But me, I'm like, it's almost like if I was brought up in Memphis.
Well, I grew up on the south side of Chicago, and the blues, naturally, was a huge part of my life. The blues and jazz were both, if it hadn't have been for black Americans, we would be doing the minuet and dancing on our tippy toes.
I have vivid memories of my uncle, my mother's brother, and my grandmother's brother, who's my great uncle, humming and singing in the fields if we were picking cotton, trying to get that 100 pounds before you went to the weigh-in scales. They would just make up songs about, I'm so tired, I'll be so glad when the sun goes down. And when I get home, I just want to lay down my head and sleep until tomorrow.
John Westbrook was an old black man who lived across the field from me. And he worked in the cotton field, which, by the way, is the hardest work in the world. One day in the cotton field, he said, child, I want you to take your little fingers and do this. I said, Uncle John, do that again. He said,
cotton, I hated it. I hated picking cotton and chopping. It was so, the sun was so hot. I dreaded those times. That's the only thing that made me change my life. I knew that I couldn't do that. That was something that I, as a child, knew the beginning of dislike and hate and cannot do and don't want to do and will not do.
Country music is gospel. Country music is just, it's the soul of the country. You know, let's go back to that word soul. It's the soul of country music. When you listen to country music, you listen to the stories. You listen to the actual hurt, the real pain.
I wanted to be the first singing black cowboy, you know? This man influenced me. I never thought about singing, never thought I could sing until I heard Back in the Saddle Again, Peace in the Valley, and all those songs. That's why I like country music today. This is my influence. This is the beginning of Hank Ballard's singing career. Gene Autry, ladies and gentlemen. I love this man. I treasure this photo. Take it everywhere I go, Gene.
Both Keith and I like country music a lot. I mean, it's the same kind of musical form as blues. I used to like George Jones, Johnny Cash, Hank Snow, Hank Williams.
Say, hey, good looking, what you got cooking? How's about cooking something up with me? Say, hey, sweet baby, don't you think, baby, we could find us a brand new recipe?
Really, I got very interested in Hank Williams because I saw him when I was very young at the Opry, at the Friday Night Frolics, actually, was the first time I saw him. And I just thought, I mean, the way he approached his singing and the rhythms and stuff that he did astounded me, and he was not like anything else that was going on at the time.
I remember when I was 18 or something, I had one Hank Williams record, and I liked it, but it didn't really hit me until I was probably, 26 or 27. And then then I got into everything that he did.
How's about cooking something up with me?
The country guys bred guys like Buddy Holly. Buddy Holly was a little bit more of a little sweeter kind of music. It was the country ballad with a rock and roll bass.
Well, that'll be the day when you say goodbye. Yeah, that'll be the day when you make me cry. You say you're gonna leave. You know it's a lie, 'cause that'll be the day when I die. Well, you give me all your loving and your eternal loving, all your hugs, your kisses, and your money too. Well, you know you love me, baby. Till you tell me maybe that someday, well, I'll be blue. Well, that'll be the day when you say goodbye. Yeah, that'll be the day when you make me cry. You say you're gonna leave.
Buddy Holly had a fantastic effect upon people because he had a great guitar technique and the songs were good. I remember learning to play Ravon, the piano bit in the middle, dun 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 dun, and if you could play it, you felt it was great. Because it's accessible. If you can play it, it means that you're in tune with them.
That'll be the day. That'll be the day.
When you talk about gospel is the truth, and country and western has always been the truth, but just because people speak the brogue or the accent is a little different, city folk made fun of that.
It's like a fever. You catch the fever, and it's like a gospel experience, and you go into a church with black people, and they whip up this choir stuff, feeling, and people in the audience are right with it, and it's just gospel, you know what I mean?
You let loose. The piano was talking, the drums was walking. Oh, everybody was gone. People shouting all over the place. And if you didn't understand what it was, you thought you was in a rock and roll concert. That's the way black gospel was when I was a boy.
Oh, you better run, better run, better run. Ah, you better run, better run, better run. Oh, you better run to the city of the refuge. You better run. God called Moses on the mountain top, and he placed his Torah in Moses' heart, and then he stamped the commandments in Moses' mind and said to Moses, don't you leave my children behind.
We called the church the Sanctified Church. I'm so glad Jesus lived in me, singing glory, hallelujah, glory, hallelujah, glory, hallelujah. Jesus lifted me, Satan had me bound. Jesus lifted me, Satan had me bound. Jesus lifted me. Baby. Satan had me bound. Jesus lifted me, singing glory, hallelujah. Jesus lifted me. And then they had that, that holler, woo! And I love that. Woo! They were just screaming. I said, oh, my Lord. It just, it made my big toe shoot up in my boot.
So music out of the church has always been my influence. And even now, I still say that there's such a fine line between gospel and R&B. There are many songs that came out of the church and ended up in the nightclub. Black Mama, She's Your Daughter, Me.